All right, let's dive straight in. For today's deep dive, we're tackling a massive reinterpretation.
It's a huge one.
We're going to challenge the whole concept of alien life through the lens of ancient Vedic philosophy.
And we're filtering it through a pretty interesting modern consciousness framework called the unbeaten methodology.
So for you, the learner, it's immediately disruptive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The first thing you have to do based on this material is just discard that image of, little green men in metal ships.
Crossing light years to get here.
Exactly. The claim here is that what we call aliens, they're not visitors from other galaxies at all. They are manifestations of a higher intelligence.
Divine beings is the term used.
Divine beings, yeah. Inhabiting these infinite lokas, these planes of existence within God's own cosmic architecture.
Okay, that is a colossal claim.
That-
So if there's such an integral part of everything, why can't we see them with all our telescopes?
Right, with all our modern tech. Well, the material paints the figure right back at us and talks about our human biolimited intelligence.
We're the problem.
We're the problem. It's the ultimate constraint. The sources argue we are literally designed not to see them.
How so?
Well, we're stuck with 5 sensory channels, we're locked into linear time, and we can only process a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum.
It's something like 0.0005%, isn't it?
That's the number. So anything operating outside that incredibly narrow slice is, well, it's effectively invisible to us.
But doesn't that sound a bit convenient? Sidestepping the need for hard evidence by just saying we're too limited to see it.
And that's precisely why the unbeaten methodology is so crucial here. Its whole principle is rejecting that kind of binary materialist thinking.
Okay.
It calls our failure dimensional blindness. We're searching for reflections of ourselves, our biology, our tech, in 3 dimensions.
When the universe is something else entirely.
Exactly. It's a matrix of infinite varieties of consciousness,
Yeah.
all operating with completely different dimensional physics.
So if our perception is the issue, what kind of map do the Vedic texts actually give us? What's the blueprint?
They lay out the cosmos as a structure of 14 locus. But you can't think of these as physical planets you can fly a rocket to.
They're not destinations.
No, they're levels. 14 distinct levels of evolutionary progression. You have the middle worlds, which is us, the Loka. Then the lower worlds, and most importantly, the upper worlds, the Svarloka.
And each one is a different dimensional frequency.
A different frequency with a different level of consciousness.
So what about their technology? If these beings are more evolved, the sources must say something. It claims the texts are actually engineering documents.
It does.
And
that sounds strange until you realize their technology isn't external like ours. It's not machines. It's integrated with consciousness.
so the texts are manuals for how consciousness can manipulate matter.
At a much higher frequency, yes.
Which brings us to the most famous example, the Vimanas, the alien spacecraft. The source material gets very specific here, referencing the Vaimanika Shastra. What's the standout technical detail?
It has to be the Mercury vortex engines, because they're described as creating anti-gravity, not through, brute force combustion.
But through consciousness.
Through consciousness-directed propulsion. The pilot's own awareness is the steering mechanism, interacting with this controlled Mercury vortex. It's applied dimensional physics.
And the pilots themselves, they operate using what are called cities. We think of them as like magical powers.
We do, but we have to redefine that. The framework says cities are just the natural abilities of beings at that level of consciousness.
So it's not magic, it's just their physics.
It's their physics. Take Legima, the ability to become weightless. For them, it's just applying the lots of matter in a higher frequency state. What we see as a UFO doing impossible maneuvers.
Is just a being using their natural consciousness-based abilities.
That's the argument.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? If we take this on board, the whole materialist paradigm it flips on its head.
It's completely inverted. Consciousness becomes primary. Matter is just consciousness in a lower, denser state of vibration.
And modern physics seems to be catching up to this, right? With things like the observer effect or quantum entanglement.
It aligns perfectly. It all points to a unified field of consciousness, just like the Vedic blueprint. And this leads to the ultimate stage of understanding here.
Which is?
There are no aliens. There's only consciousness expressing itself through all these different dimensional frequencies. They aren't other, they are what we are capable of becoming.
So the real takeaway is that our value isn't in building bigger rockets to find aliens, but in evolving our own consciousness. Right here.
And that leaves a final thought to sit with. If the beings of the higher lokas are simply us, just evolved to our fullest potential, that is the real contact with alien intelligence, we should be seeking actually contact with the higher consciousness inside ourselves.